Oh my no. Hey, what's up, everybody? We are live by surprise. I've been gone and my hair is, I just took a nap, so it's all like whatever. Anyway, we have a new article out today. Let's check it out. Oh, this is a good one. It's a large one. The thing about the article, I will say before y'all read it, it is the same stuff. I'm going to my channel because I posted it about 4 hours ago. It is the same arguments we've been looking at since day one. And as a disclaimer, if anyone's new on the channel, back in October, I made the channel after finishing the book that I wrote on all of this other classics related pagan rituals, perhaps in the early days of Christianity, called the book Witch Doctor Christianity, blah, blah, blah. And so I made the YouTube channel as a way to try to get in touch with Gnostic Informant, Myth Vision, Lady Babylon, all these other YouTubers that I'd watched for years while getting the motivation to write the book, And it seems like I got the attention of Lady Babylon. And then I had Gnostic Informant on the channel. Now here I am, I'm kind of a new guy to all this. I didn't realize we had these feuds already up and running, but it all kind of happened in real time right after I made the channel. So since then, we have been doing as much research as we can and bringing on as many diverse people that will come on a show. Some people don't want to go on a show, whether it's me or the topic or they're freshening up on the material before coming on. Everyone's got lives and everyone's got stuff to do. But we're in a quest to find, hey, what's going on, Mandy? Neo Prototype. Yeah, I just jumped on and went live because I have a couple minutes I could probably do while my mom is here. And we had our little baby. So he's here now. And everything's going really well there. What's up? So let's see. First thing I need to do is let's pull up the article. Let me make my face smaller here. Is that easier to watch? All right, let's go to share screen. Here we go. All right, guys, sorry. I haven't been on here in a little while. Hey. All right, so Jevin, my Gnostic older sister, as I call her now, she did. I was wanting. I like how fun that the zodiac stuff is, and I've looked up my own charts and stuff, and looked at what the sun sign and the moon sign, just to see what it all says. Let me tell you, I am a textbook freaking Gemini, and if you don't believe it, well, that's fine, cool. Everyone, has their own beliefs, but it is very, very interesting that I can be so identical to something. I call it sometimes fortune cookie, but to be the identical like description. So sometimes that kind of stuff is really interesting. It kind of makes you think a little bit. Makes you kind of just look, why not? Let's have some fun. Let's look into this stuff. And so I'm curious to see what like Stevie Ray's like chart is and stuff. So we have the time he was born, where, and there's been this sort of if you look at all the different websites that do that stuff, it's pretty consistent when you type in the same stuff at other sites. So it's kind of it's kind of interesting that they have stuff sort of categorized in whatever algorithm they use to do that. All right, so let's look at this article. And I haven't sent the link to Marcel or anything. I figure I'll see if he jumps on anyway. We were all reading it just now. I read it earlier and I posted it. Come on, Steve. Where do you gotta go? I got nervous. I haven't been live in a while. All right. Share this tab. Boom, 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 boom. All right. So I hit up Stephen from Cross Bible earlier today. And can I make that smaller? All right. So I hit up Stephen from Cross Bible earlier today. And I was like, hey, man, where's that Ruck video, that's coming out? Or whatever it was. I remember seeing Gnostic and Stephen with Neil and Stephen, with Carl Ruck and I believe Mr. Hoffman's son. I forgot his first name, but Albert Hoffman's son. Or was it one of the different grandfathers of ethnobotany's son? I can't remember. So I've been waiting for this to come out. Oh, here we go. Here we go. He has 2 grand trines in water and almost a grand trine in air and fire. Oh, see, I want to, guys, I'm going to bring Jevim on, and we're going to do where you're from, how'd you become the occult examiner or occult examiner, and then she gets to crack open the profile on this, and that'll be the first time we've had anybody talk about something like that on the channel, which I think it feels like the same kind of stuff that we do here, you know. I said moon and dark moon, Lilith and Scorpio. Oh wow. See, we're all into that, you know, and it's funny how every time that kind of stuff is talked about, it seems consistent with the person, with the types and stuff. When people have known more, like when people will talk about it, it's like I hear the same stuff for each type when I talk to different people. But anyway, interesting. Let's do the article. So let me go over here, continue. Ammon Hillman is not telling you the truth. The Gospels do not describe pedophilia, and no one was getting high on vaginas. 1st September 2025. Today. This is what he was talking about last time I was talking to him. He said he's waiting on September 1st. Winky face. I thought he was talking about the freaking Ruck video. So if I was the one who started that rumor of it being on the 1st, that was my fault, actually. So there's a classicist named Ammon Hillman, guys. We're just going to look at this, you know, a classicist named Ammon Hillman, a.k.a. David Hillman, who wrote a decent dissertation on ancient pharmacology, and then went on to make absurd claims about the Gospels and early Christianity that verge into pedophilia and an obsession with genitals. Yes, your intuition is working here. All his weird theories about this are just false as they sound. Yet he's been pushing this everywhere he can online for a summary critique, and there's a whole channel on this, including treatments at Myth Vision and History Valley. If you click on these links, guys, it'll go to the videos that they've done. Stephen from Cross Bible was in the one that's linked to the Myth Vision in the article. I happen to know other classicists have been rolling their eyes at this nonsense, but don't want to get entangled in legitimizing the creepy pedo porn guy. Yeah, so I could totally understand that too. So various parties offered to arrange a debate between Hillman and me because I am immune to university politics. Hillman flat out refused to debate me. He hasn't. I made him mad, so he doesn't want to come on my show either, but he might not do smaller shows now. He might only do, because of Danny Jones, he might only do, what's it called? Like shows that have larger followings. He might only take things that are larger now. But he does not like me. That's why he's not coming on my show. But, you know, I would like for him to, you know, duke it out on my show with someone else where we bring this kind of, it's a dream come true for a dude with a YouTube channel, you know, whatever. Apparently he won't debate an actual expert, and I'm not the only one who offered. He also refused. Luke Gorton, I don't know that name. Union Languages, Cultures, Literatures. Okay, so he's University of New Mexico, my dog. All right, so let's go back to it. Let's go back. Let's go. How do I make this bigger? Here we go. Boom. This is better. All right. Let's go through this. I must forefront with all this warning because I have to assess the value of what Hillman says, and what he says is gross. I'm going to have to quote it, discuss some graphic, gratuitous sexual content that's not kosher to you. You can skip this article and content ever generated by Ammon, David Hillman. and count yourself lucky. Everyone else, trudge on. Since someone won't debate me, I debate this empty chair. His wildly dubious chapter in toxicology and antiquity, link there. Ancient mystery initiation, toxic priestesses and vaginal communions, which include his absurd declaration, page 383 through 84, that Jesus was taking drugs and had to derive his antidote by the performance of a sexual act on a 9 to 12-year-old boy. Guys, just as a side note real quick, let me switch this up so I can actually find it in the editing. The one thing I had a problem with the, just one of the things, not to be too specific and not look at the general overview. And sorry if I fix this. It's got that freaking shit in it. But the if he was doing a castration ceremony in the garden, trying to use anyone after a castration, trying to do something to them to extract a fluid, you know, I don't know if that would be the easiest thing to do. I don't know. I've never tried it. Let's see. Let's bring this back. So, hallucinogen that pagans usually snorted from vaginas. The details of this is so, plus some false things he has said elsewhere about Mark describing this, he doesn't. I have no interest in anything else Hillman says, because this alone proves he is catastrophically unreliable and thus cannot be cited for even for a sensible claim, much less a controversial one. So ultimately, guys, I do want to say there's gonna be things that he's obviously not wrong about, you know. So let's say this all goes into what his show is. So let's say he got an 85 in the class. That means 15% of the class, you know, of the material he got wrong during the course, you know, but 85 still passes. So I think with that left and right margin, just sort of there, as far as like he says truths, there are things that he says in the lessons that are true. And that's what I believe, that's what people do when they're trying to drive a narrative, because that's what I do when I'm trying to draw a narrative. You see, I can be a narcissist. I can be a sociopath. I can be the exact same fucking demon that takes a hold of him when he's given that sermon and blah, 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 blah. I have that, whatever that. It's not the most positive thing in the world, but I got it, whatever that is. If there was a diagnosis for that specific syndrome, let's call it Ammon Hillman syndrome, I have that already. I can transparently tell y'all my friends, you're my audience, and you're whoever the hell, it doesn't matter. But he would never say that, you know? And so knowing that he's had entheogens and stuff, typically it melts the ego. And just little things that are lies and stuff, or the way he phrases stuff and the way he stances things, the amount of stretching that we're doing, you know, but there are things that he says that are true. There is stuff from antiquity that existed that is exactly how he describes it in a lot of the videos as well, too. So don't let me completely shit all over him. I think what's happening is the character that he is, and that's putting it lightly. I think the character, and I'm not an expert at anything, the character that he is works, and people cannot stop. I can't stop talking about this stuff. I feel like the CNN anchors when Trump is president, how they, boom, boom, I can't stop, man. I'm like, I got a problem, you know? And so, I don't know. I'm just saying, just being transparent about it. I want the stuff to be true, even though I don't really want to agree with Hillman just because he hates me and stuff, you know? All right, let's do it. So I have no interest in anything else Hillman says, because alone truth catch will be unreliable. This cannot be, so you should be listening, reference this guy for nothing, anything. Okay, so methodology, here we go. The following is not a complete fisk of Hillman's published nonsense. Christ never deserved that. What I will give you is a representative dive into how he misstates the facts. Okay, so I think everyone's saying the same thing. This guy's just he did a really, really what I was telling Marcel a second ago, which I need to send him the link, was we have another guy that's saying the same rebuttals. I didn't read anything in here I didn't know yet, or did anything that hasn't been brought up yet in the, oh my God, how many videos have been dissecting this guy's stuff, And I've watched a lot of them, and then it started to slow down after I'd seen a bazillion of them. And it was like, okay, I just wanted to make sure I had an idea of what they were disagreeing with more specifically, and finding if there was any way for it to not be ridiculous, just by exploring with the ideas and thinking out loud in front of the camera, and being silly with it, if you will, or whatever, and letting it, playing around with the ideas. Let's talk about the galley and the Inari. And it's like, is it really that insane to think that this was a Jewish ripoff of like a galley? Is it real? Would it really be that crazy? Like, well, we're not the first people to say some stuff like, and not we, but like, we looked at the channel. We looked into how long this theory's been around. It's been around a lot longer before Ammon. That's the thing. I don't know if this article mentions that, but let's keep digging into it. So I didn't know a damn thing about this specific theory. I'd only heard Holy Blood, Holy Grail type theories, and you'll see it won't even matter if it's changed any position since toxicology, because the errors I will document illustrate the same dishonesty. Ooh, okay. Or incompetence he is displaying online. Oh no, let's see. Which all entails the same things about its reliability. Hence, I will walk you through enough examples for you to know what that you cannot trust anything he says. Guys, sometimes I can be so choppy when I read. My procedure here is the same as I recommend in Galatians 1:19. Ancient grammar. And how do you evaluate expert testimony, guys? Click on it. I'm just going to read through this right now. We're going to talk. I'm going to get Tiger Shark on here too, because he brought up something that Allie was talking about, that the Allie was educating us on and is going to do in a part 2 that is congruent with the nature of what's being said. And I think that's where people are starting to, they're picking apart individual things now to sort of set the records straight. And this is part of that, those pillars of this whole thing, if you will. Hillman's claims have already been debunked, see links above, but not as in much detail by anyone with a PhD in ancient history and languages. Unlike me, I have studied Greek languages since being at Berkeley, BA in history and minor in classical civilizations. This dude's got an awesome educational background. I saw his stuff. It's, I totally wish I could, go to school for it too. Program at Columbia University, where I studied Roman era Greek, including linguistics, paleography, papyriology, sorry if I still said it wrong, under renowned classicists and historians V.W. Harris, Alan Cameron, Roger Bagnall, Raffaella Crebior, Gareth Williams, Leonardo Terran, Nancy Warman, and others, and majored in ancient religion, historiography, and philosophy, and completed a dissertation in ancient science. Oh, this guy sounds cool, man. And not trying to like the guy or nothing, And I am not alone. Other experts have critiqued Hillman in other ways, from Dan McClellan, which we all can say our own thing about guys who are in the Mormon faith. We're going to have a Mormon on the show, and y'all are going to love this guy. He's a great talker and a great storyteller. I talked to him today, and he was showing me some of the stuff we were going to pull up on the slides. Kip Davis and Joel Carritco. Guys, remember, Kip Davis, Joel Carritco did a episode on what your pastor didn't tell you. And it was breaking down the misconception with the languages. And there's still misconceptions with the language understanding of what and how certain pieces of the scriptures being original in Greek or in Hebrew. Like I said before, and I could still be wrong, it's more like this. When the Old Testament came together, Hebrew, Greek, and I got laughed at. Oh my God. People were like, that's satire. And I'm like, what? Well, I was just thinking like certain scribes knew Greek and certain scribes write Hebrew. I was like, but I can't explain it because I'm not smart, right? So let's look at Joel Carritco's video. And what he does is he explains the transliterations, some idioms, and infinite absolutes that you find in the Hebrew language, as choppy and chicken scratchety as it absolutely is, and it's very limited, absolutely. Oh my gosh. I think that's what makes it pretty cool. I don't know any of it. All I've done is look at some ancient Greek and stuff, and I do Duolingo. Um, and apparently, well, anyway, let's just go back to the article. That's what we're here for, right? People are going to rewatch this shit. They don't want me bird walking too much. As far as I know, no expert backs what he says here. Danny Jones had Hillman on and later confessed to Joe Rogan that he could not vet his wild claims because Jones doesn't know ancient Greek and couldn't get an actual expert in Greek to debate him, except one. In fact, it's two now, Gordon and me. Very true. Oh, I'm sure Ammon Hillman's email is full of people asking him to debate him that we don't even know about, that have just been behind the party, not on camera. Once you put yourself on camera, you're putting yourself out there to get fucking your head chopped. So unless you appease, everybody, which is impossible. So I am here to tell you what Hillman is saying that isn't true. Okay. And per the method I lay out. Now, guys, this may look identical to everything that was going on in MythVision's video. You're just seeing it again from another guy with the academia backed pedigree to talk about this. That's all. And remember, we're gonna read everybody's shit, even if it's from the enemy or it's from the guy you like. You got to read all the stuff. Elvis sucks, or I love Elvis. I own both of the freaking button companies. Taking all the money. All right, just playing. I will provide you with tools. Fuck it. Okay, the vaginal bong nonsense. Okay. I don't know what it's fucking. I fucking love this dude. Hillman's postdoc claims about ancient pharmacology generally are untrustworthy. See the Bryn Mawr review in Philippe Charlier for perspective. He practices the tactic of Mont and Bailey, framing himself as just making obvious true claims, e.g. hallucinogens were known and sometimes used in antiquity they were. But then surrounding these with objectively false claims, everyone was using them all the time, and everyone from Christianity to democracy, even Greek philosophy. This is what I say all the time, being an asshole to people that don't like the idea. I fully admit it. Even Greek philosophy was built on them. They weren't. And then complains about calling out, dude, Stephen from Cross Bible, man, will you get him on the show? I would love him to come on the show. I feel like he would be a great talker the way he writes. So you have to be a guard against the shell game. It's a game almost every crank plays. And you might catch Hillman and his fans doing this a lot. I do it every time. Always call it a fallacy the moment you see it. So we should be surprised that Hillman turns out to be completely unreliable on the claim that people are using women's vaginas as bongs to take drugs. Now, I haven't been saying that there's vagina bongs, okay? But I was saying that the magic wand in the pictures makes me think that the whole alabastron thing's not crazy. I mean, I'm sorry. I look at the artwork. Guys, he has a fucking alabastron in his hand in the artwork. So this theory's been around for a while. It's not, that's why I'm saying it. We're just trying to say that the theory isn't crazy. He's just the last guy. Okay. I don't want to make any analogies here because I make the worst ones. So let's keep it going. We should not be surprised him to be completely unreliable claim that we were using women's vaginas as bonds to take drugs or vaginal fluids as drugs. There was absolutely no evidence this ever happened anywhere in the antiquity. What I can say is I'm curious to know if there was any bodily fluids used as that in the sacrament. And Ali Rowan told me that there might have been, based on, some details of some stuff. It's cool. It would be tedious to go through the hundreds of random, people have done crazier shit, hundreds of random made-up claims he uses in his chapter and online to try and create this fact and sell you on it, all of which counting you not check anything. Yes, I don't want to do any work here. I didn't write a fucking 145,000 word book and have everybody I can on the show to talk about stuff in developing the opinions. But I'm just being funny. It would tedious to go through hundreds of random made-up claims he uses. Yeah, see, that this is why it's hard to stay. It's like you have to go through each episode by episode, which we could do that, but oh man, that'd be a lot of episodes. We just need bullet points of what people disagree with from each episode and just have that on a, like a spreadsheet somehow. What I do instead is single out some representative examples and see how he snows you, which provides you with a framework and follow. You can check any other claims you feel need to do. Okay, here we go. I like this. Representative of everything I'm talking about is now Hillman abuses you as an audience, Apollonius as a source. Let's go here. Let me switch this around. Hey, Allie. Oh, yeah. I can't wait to ask you more on the thing. It will be soon. I got a pretty stacked week of working up, but let's go through this. I want to be the first one that reads this live before Derek beats me to it. I did my hair like him. I hope he thinks it's funny. Okay, Hillman claims Apollonius in Argonautica 41335 FF. I did read this earlier, but I skimmed through it. So describes priestesses drugging babies. It does not. It describes the nymph Macris salving the parched lips of the baby Dionysus with honey. He explicitly says honey from bees and nothing else. Ah, okay, cool. So we have, perhaps he's using half the sentence and then hoping you don't go back and read it yourself and see the other half of it. Okay. We see this in politics a lot. We see this in politics. I know. I used to, be in the car with the motherfuckers and stuff. Earlier, Apollonius mentions she nursed him, which always means nourished, not drugs. Okay, 4.540 or 4.540. Sorry. I'm not smart enough to know how you're supposed to read that. Nowhere in this text is Dionysus or any baby drugged. Okay, that's a nail. Nor in 4.869-826, on which Hillman pulls the exact stunt regarding Achilles. And Achilles, his anointment. It's breathtaking, and goddammit, he better look like fucking Brad Pitt and Troy, or else I'm not doing this. Just kidding. Hillman claims this passage refers to the Mystis, the mystery priestess who nursed Dionysus. There is no one named or called Mystis here. The rude bust appears nowhere in the whole of the Arenaca. See screenshot of my search, TLG below. And there is no reference to mysteries or even priestesses in book 4. Well, I would need to go and read because I do not know how to read. Hillman then claims Mystis, whose name means initiator, refers to people credited with the production and administration of serious vaginal exudate that was mixed with sacramental compound drug concoctions. None of this is true. Whilst Mystis could refer to an initiate or initiator, it actually meant secret rite. That's what I thought from the thing. From the verb muo, this close shut, and then even Mystis thus referred to initiates in those mysteries. It never meant anything to do with the drugging of the vaginas. Well, I wonder if there's just some cannabis burning as part of the fun. Just being funny. And no such thing happens in Apollonius anywhere. And again, no one named or called Mystis is in Apollonius anyway. Okay. Well, if there's no one named Mystis if that word isn't even the entire book, refer to initiation actually meant secret right. And again, no one named Mystis or called Mystis in Apollonius anyway. So that word's not even in there. All right. If that is true, then that is a absolutely good point. Notice how Hillman has given the impression that this is all the sources he cited. None of it is, literally none of it. Yeah, and I remember when I used to really be like that, where I knew something wasn't 100%, but I would say it anyway, just because the other person was listening to me. Like a theory I had been playing around with, having an argument like with a Christian back in the day when I was like one of those atheists trying to argue with people. In fact, the Greek passage Hillman quotes here, but doesn't even attempt to translate for you, says not a single thing he claims. It actually says local nymphs gathered up in their white folds and many colored blossoms they had picked, meaning they were tucking flowers into their white frocks. See below. How does he get vaginas into their white frocks? I'd have to read the whole thing. Here we go. Hillman insists the word white refers to the minstrel of the young girls. Oh God, it does not. Even part of the fact that in no honest, competent way does the context warrant the sense here. Hillman has screwed up in the grammar. He cites 5 in the Standard Little and Scott lexicon, but overlooks the fact that the LSJ indicates the sense only occurs in the neutral plural. The neuter plural, ta, indicates neural plural, like Luca, likewise Luca, not the masculine, and only as a noun, not the adjective. Sorry. Here it's masculine singular and an adjective. It modifies corpus, fold, lap, bosom. That bosom, corpus. If I'm not mistaken, that's Zeus. They used when he, which in medical context means vagina, but not only when compared. Oh, wrong. But only when paired with the word womanly. Oh, okay. There we go. So gynakios. Gynakios. Yeah. Close enough. Hence, womanly fold, not just fold. Below, I screen cap an example from the medical author of Rufus. Yeah, a couple of a word not being there will, like, just like with phrases and sayings we have today, it'll throw the whole thing off. That's what's kind of funny when someone attempts to say something and they get it wrong, and it kind of ruins the whole thing because then this is not a medical book anyway. It's a poem about nymphs bringing flowers to a sacred site, and not describing women giving birth or stuffing miscellaneous flowers up their vaginas. Competent translations entails attending no. 2, not ignoring context. Just making sure I got the right screen up. It is describing women giving birth and stuffing miscellaneous flowers in vaginas. Competent translation entails attending to, not ignoring text, but Hillman chooses translation instead. All right, so Rufus de corpus in appellationibus, whatever. Okay, gynakios. Okay, I did to I haven't read any Greek in so long. All right, here we go. So, no drug babies or vaginas in Apollonius. Sorry, guys. Though Pato points, I guess, for contriving an elaborate excuse to juxtapose drugs, babies, and vaginas, and bonus points for making them the vaginas of the young girls when nymphs were actually thousands of years old. But none of this is real. It's all made up in Hillman's mind. So figmentary points for figmentary ideas, I guess. Taking care to notice all the tricks Hillman is pulling here. His only evidence for this claim about nymph vaginas is a single passage in Apollonius, yet he has misstated which word is in the text. He has misstated that what the text says, and he got the grammar wrong, all to convince you that when Apollonius says nymphs carried flowers to a shrine, it means priestesses drugs their vaginas in mystery cults. In fact, there are no vaginas, priestesses, drugs, or any references to mystery cults. By playing games of juxtaposition and conflating and stream of consciousness, make up whatever Hillman has fabricated a passage that does not exist, to con you into believing that a completely outrageous falsehood born of his own pornographic mind is attested in ancient sources. This is how he routinely operates. So you need to pay close attention to this and how he did this, so you know how to catch him doing it every other time. I think just his personality, you can kind of, you can just sort of tell, obviously, and with all the other testimonials of how, like, everyone that he has all these falling outs with everybody. I don't know. Okay, Hillman does the same thing when he tries to trick you into thinking the word eos means purple venom. I didn't think that's what he thought. But anyway, because two different similar sounding words that aren't related to each other, ion and eos, mean separately violet as in flower and a fast-acting poison. Not necessarily. Does he think that? I didn't know he thought that. I don't think I know enough about him to know how ridiculous he might be, because I don't watch his show all the time. I don't watch it anymore at all, but I used to watch it some when I was doing all this. Not necessarily venom. None of the Hillman sources about venom say it's even purple, much less connected to violets. None of the sources on violets or even color purple say that they are talking about poisons. It's all the worse that you will often catch him playing on the ambiguity of the word purple to term switch between violet ion and red in order to claim references to blood or references of ios poison. Of course, spectrally, violet is nowhere near the color of blood, literally, and though the ancient Greek for the word purple, purpurul, could overlap with red, it can't for the flower. So there are no logical way to get from violets, the flower, to blood red, nor are violets poisonous, nor are they snakes, nor is snake venom purple. Hence, he has concocted elaborate fantasy. See, this is exactly what I wanted to see. It's just like where did he coin the phrase? I was just gonna ask him where he coined the phrase "burning purple" from. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was like, that's all I wanted to know about, because I was writing the book. There was the chapter on burning purple. I was like, well, I'm trying to see what's up with this purple thing, because we see purple references with sorry guys, let me switch up. We see purple references when we have the sorry, I haven't been watching any of this, guys. I'm sorry. Let me just do this and get some other activity here. Let me get invite guest. Let me see if I can get Marcel real quick. He's around. No, I don't think he's even here. Is he in the chat, y'all? I haven't been watching the chat. I need a Wizzo. That's only about 12 people watching it. Oh, there it is. Did you send me the link for StreamYard? People will tell you, hello, fellow travelers. Hey, what's up, man? Or girl, what's up? What's up? People will tell you. Let me just say like that. He needs to look at Alexander Skarsgård. No shit. Okay. Ah.
Yeah.
Boom. What up?
Oh, fuck, I gotta mute this.
Yeah, we all know that Hillman makes false claims. History is
Wait,
about
am I in the right?
rights. This is about chapter toxicology and antiquity.
Uh,
Oh, this is to specifically that. Okay. I
oh,
thought
yeah, it's working.
thought
Yo,
it was,
no, dude, I was yelling at you to send me the link.
no, it's cool. I wanted to read through a lot of it first before I started bringing
So
anybody
I
on.
don't know if you noticed, but those blue words in the article, you can click on it and it brings you to exactly what he's saying.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Just I figured. I just didn't.
Hell yeah. All right. Yeah. Let me pull it up and I'm going to read through this. I'm going to get back to the baby and everybody.
Yeah.
But they were excited for me, so I definitely wanted to add the stage. Boom. Here we go. All right. Here we go. And he pulls the same tinfoil hattery with language to get purple vagina bongs, for example. Hillman claims a good example. No, he says a good example of his made-up Iosrite can be found in Euripides' account of the union of Apollo and Creusa, Ion 887, where he insists Creusa inserts meadow saffron into her vagina. Page 368. Really? No. Once again, Hillman's source is just describing a man finding a woman gathering flowers and then leading her to bed, and not a wedding or any religious rite, as Hillman also falsely claims. The context cannot be tweaked here. You come to me, your hair gleaming with gold, when I was plucked into the folds of my robe, saffron flowers to adorn the gold with gold gleaming. It's clear in its meaning. In Greek, this translates to if they semoi grusu zaitan. Anyway, although where autumn saffron, not meadow saffron, is referenced, see below. And kolpos was time in the plural for single woman. So does she have multiple vaginas? In the context of giving birth, the plural of kolpos can refer to the entire reproductive system from the womb on down. But that's not the context here. Here, the context is flower picking. So the sense is to, yeah, every once in a while, people are doing what the words literally mean and not, and then, like a hidden meaning. And sometimes they are. It just depends what we're talking about. We watched Much Ado About Nothing today, and I kind of described that when trying to describe potentials in the writing in the Bible. Obviously, I want there to be holy shit discoveries and all that cool stuff,
Yeah.
Totally. And it's saffron flowers, Crocia Patala, and she is picking Drapo. Not a drug or poison, but a condiment. Saffron in the vagina wouldn't do anything pharmacologically. Saffron? More than eating it would. Oh, okay. Her many vaginas and entire reproductive system stuffed with drugs and also hardly had adorned anything with gold either. Well, my only argument to just that as a surface statement is just they did some weird shit back then. Let's not forget that. Oh, did you not catch the clever poet concentrating the boy's golden hair, gleaming with her golden flowers adorning? Right, the poet is describing visual imagery. She isn't stuffing flowers out of sight. She is displaying them, adorning, not drugging. And then Hillman claims the vagina, colpos, and breast, the pieces became biological synthesizers of sacred communal substances, a truly strange assertion for which he cites only a single source, Horace's Euripides, if I said it wrong, sorry, 17.35, where Hillman insists that Latin term for the body is a vessel used to prepare drugs was officina, and used by Horace to describe the power of the witch Canidia in her use of Colchian drugs. Not only
see a lot of this is from the Toxicology and Antiquity article.
Right. I was wondering where he was focusing on the examples to rebuttal. If it was his episodes at first, I when I was curious about this. Yeah. Now I will say, I'm
pretty sure Ruck has brought it that Ammon is saying that Ruck is referencing vagina when he's not, because a lot of what Ammon's saying is like, oh, this is Ruck referencing vagina. And he's using that as the idea to say so. But Ruck is like, no, I'm not referencing vaginas.
Ammon is a very good salesman.
Of course.
Great salesman. Oh, yeah. That's what I did for years, guys. Now y'all see where all that narcissistic, sociopathic energy in me comes from, of course. For those that are paying attention to that,
and again, the whole like Ammon is sticking to what he believes to be true, whether it's true or not. I don't think the guy's deliberately lying. I think he's connecting dots that he believes are there, whether they're there or not.
Right.
That's up for debate. But at least he's still being honorable to what he feels the truth is.
Yeah, and I think what he's doing, I think when I'm really into something, I can never shut up about it.
Yeah.
Bodybuilding, oh my God, my friends from home were just like,
yes, because nine times out of 10, the dots you're connecting aren't real connections, because the brain is programmed to see connections everywhere. Most of the time, they're not actually real.
So skip to what he says about Satyricon. If I'm saying that wrong, I apologize.
Oh yeah. The Satyricon isn't about the burning purple though, and it's also not a book in Greek. It's in Latin.
Right.
The Satyricon was never written in Greek. It's written in Latin, and it's about a bruised anus from an orgy from being penetrated so much.
Is that the purple anus that he was referring to?
Yes, that's the purple anus he apparently found. But if you translate the passage, it's about bruising from extended anal intercourse.
I have, how people, man, you know what it's like telling people this shit at the fucking gym? Oh my God. All right. So I won't throw any more examples. It's all like this. Nothing he claims is true. There is stuff he says that's true, but this is the art. This is why when I read this, I was like, oh, this isn't Ruck. The way this guy's talking isn't Ruck. No, at first glance, I thought this was, because Steve just sent me the link. Steven Nelson, my childhood friend. He sent me the link earlier, and I clicked on it. And at first, I thought, oh, did Ruck write an article?
No. There's the video. I think Neil's got to edit the video and stuff, but Neil wants to do his own rebuttal thing first. I think. I don't know how much I'm supposed to be talking about this, but yeah,
it's okay. Euripides 17 never says any of this. No lapper and bosom or vagina is here at all. Line 35 says of Canidia, you're a workshop aglow with Colchian poisons. Till I turn to dry ashes, and I am blown away. There is no mention of vaginas. The body as a vessel. That Horace, the poet, says it's a workshop of poet device called personification, using her vagina just to describe her furious activity in producing poisons and magics until he is burned away by them. So Hillman has no evidence whatsoever for this wild claim here. His wild claim here. He just cited a random unrelated verse and hopes you didn't go read about it.
Yeah.
All right. Those technical matters of Greek grammar require expertise in responding. So Hillman is counting on his dupes not knowing Greek, or not bothering to check what he is claiming about the Greek. Right here. Of course, his claims, I've been looking at all this, that's the whole project that we're doing here.
Yeah.
I'm just being funny.
As soon as I saw, Occult Examiner's got a video on her on her Instagram that shows Snappy telling the story about the Satyricon. It's like, for one, it's not a Greek book, and two, the purple anus that's in there is not purple from purple drugs. Right.
Well, I guess there's only one way to find out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I read it. It's Latin. It's easily translated. It has nothing to do with purple drugs.
Of course, his claim falls foul of all the other rules of competent translation, like attending to the grammatical and situational and cultural context of a word. See again Colossians 1:16 and Revelation 24. For example, Luke 22:30 is obviously just an abbreviation of the 12 thrones, saying Matthew 19:28, which is obviously an embellishment of doctrine. Paul refers in 1 Corinthians 3:6, we will even judge angels. It's about to hold seats of power and judgment, 12 different seats, one for each tribe. It is not about taking drugs. Wrong context, wrong grammar. Okay. So Hillman's exegesis here would flunk him out of any accredited course in ancient Greek. When he suspects you are going to catch him pulling up sorts of tricks, he will pull up another more sweeping claim that he knows a secret language called the Vox Orpica, and this allows him to completely change the meaning of any word he wants, anywhere to anything. This is a scam, but I'll get to that last. And that's what Stephen Nelson's been trying to tell us on the show as well. And that's what the other rebuttal videos did have in them.
No, I've got the Orthodox by Otto Kern downloaded, and like, it's not what Ammon says it is.
My mom's done a deep dive in this too, and she had her own list. She's here, but she's not going to jump on right now. But, she had a list of all the things that similar to this, all the things that she had seen watching, 20 or so episodes, just stuff she was writing down, because you see it through the show. The discrepancies are congruent through all the episodes, if you will. I'm probably saying that wrong, but you see what I mean. They're like, because he says the same stuff every show, but then surrounded with other materials, what Jesus a drug addict nonsense. I shouldn't insult your intelligence by wasting time on Hillman's nonsense case for Jesus drugs. Taking drugs, in particular, a completely illogical mixture of hallucinogens, poisons, and colored dyes because reasons. That never happens in the Gospels, and Hillman's attempt to get it be happening in the Gospels is all linguistic distortion, a tinfoil hat that once again would get you flunked out of any course in ancient Greek or literature. Well, yeah, but we talked about Matthew and Matthew and Luke, the ergot harvesting that we think they're alluding to in that, and consecrated breads coming from wheat and grain anyway. I don't think it's ridiculous. So
I mean that part's proven by archaeology, though. But like all this, like everything in this article has nothing to do with ergot and stuff. It has to do with crazy child vagina drugs. Like you like the ergot stuff doesn't matter.
Claims. And not everybody believes that Jesus was eating ergot with his boys in the field and then going to the thing. But he did cite David in Matthew, and he cites the Old Testament talking about, did you not read what David did? And Francesca Stavrakopoulou, just out of, I don't know what she thinks of this. I would love to just hear her thoughts on the whole thing, but she might not want to get included because of, but she's been an atheist her whole life. So that tends to, and a lot of people are atheists in that world too. And I don't know if this particular guy is a Christian or an atheist.
He argues against Christian apologists all the time. Apparently, I think that's what I saw when I briefly looked him up. Like, this guy's against Christianity just as much as Ammon is.
I wonder if it is ergot that's growing on my Rose of Sharon. It is so weird. I've heard of it growing rarely on corn also, but they don't have the thing, the sclerera. What's it called, Marcel? I forgot what it's called. The thing that triggers that to grow the ergot on those cereal grains. But I do think that the consecrated breads from the Old Testament were the breads contaminated with ergot that only the priest would eat. And I do think that Jesus referring to that, just in my own opinion, I'm not aggressive.
I can agree with that 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
That's
right?
my only claim to fame in this
That's
whole
proven
world is the
that's proven
ergot.
with archaeology, right? Like that shit's unrefutable.
Yeah,
But what's being refuted here is Ammon's use of the lexicon.
Roger.
Right. What's being
That's
refuted
what
here?
makes this
Right.
conversation real tough for people, because whether you like him or not, if he says anything right, I think some people.
And I mean, I'm not trying to say Ammon's 100% wrong or 100% right either. It's just that you can see that there's some lexica trickery here. Anyway, I don't want to keep
Hillman
this.
claims the first generation of Christians following Jesus openly acknowledged drinking drug concoctions derived from snakes, Mark 16. Not really. That passage doesn't have enough there. It just says you're going to take up serpents and they won't harm you, which if the author was trying to have dualism there, perhaps, but that's the only thing. And then the Paul shaking off the snake and nothing happened to him kind of thing. And again, I believe that's even later. That was added later. So, I don't know. That, like I said, we're looking at it all because there's a lot of stuff there. Openly no, not even covertly, not even at all. This is all made up. First, of course, the verse is fake. It's widely inserted into the manuscripts. Okay. Here we go. He's saying what I'm saying. And most likely originated in the commentary of the Gospels from the mid to late 2nd century. They never intended this to be mistaken as gospel text. See my chapter on this in Hitler, Homer, Bible, Christ. It probably was just a rephrase of Luke 10:19, which claims a miraculous immunity to poisons, which is, not their use for anything, but whatever. Likewise, later traditions like Hippolytus, apostolic tradition, 36.1, whatever, and Papias in Eusebius, History of the Church. Guys, you can click. It says richardcarrier.info. But again, whatever, let's play the game. Mark 16:18 is a list of miraculous powers early Christians claim they would have. They will pick up snakes, and when they drink anything deadly, it will not hurt them at all. There is no reference here to using poisons as drugs. Or using them in any way. It is just saying things won't hurt or kill them because of their faith. Okay, and it openly said we would need to read before it, and this is handling snakes. Otis osin, not processing their venom, and that nothing deadly. Tana Simon. Yeah.
That's Tana Simon.
Yeah, and that they drink will harm them. I'm going to stop reading it anyway. Not things they drink will do something useful for them, or any other thing that could have been true Hillman's fantasy. In fact, pseudo Mark chose the opposite sense. We've been looking at that too. To never blaspheme in someone means not just never cause harm, but to never alter or distort their mind too, which rules out any conception of encompassing hallucinogens. Hillman ignores all this and claims instead that the word deadly was a medical term for poisons. That's not quite true, because he's misrepresenting an adjective as a noun. The word is deadly, not necessarily poison. The author says deadly thing. This therefore cannot be the medical term for poison. As a noun substitute, which is absolutely not here, it could mean poisons, and hence poisonous drugs. And so could adjective noun phrase the author actually used. And the context does make that the sense here, but it does not specify snake venom as Hillman misimplies. It generally encompasses all deadly substances. Moreover, snake venom was already listed, so the author clearly does not mean snake venom with this phrase. He means all other poisons apart from the snake venom he already mentioned by.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
And the context plainly establishes that he means these are bad things that would cause harm, but for the Christian faith. Exactly as Papias and Hippolytus clearly understood, so all Christian witnesses are against Hillman here. This is all just a bundle of bait and switch fallacies. Says some trivially true things, like that pseudo Mark means poisons, then tack on a bunch of false things, like that he means ingesting, processing carefully dosed snake venom in conjunction with a hallucinogen, and hope that the truth of these trivial things will rub off into the false things. It doesn't, unless you're easily duped by shell games. But please don't be that fool. You know better. What Hillman is doing is exactly the wrong way to translate text, ignoring grammar, ignoring context, ignoring history, and putting words into the author's mouths. Just like preterists and the Israel-only folks do, Hillman is breaking every rule he would have been trained in school to follow. Which I could make a joke, but I'm not. Which would be professionally incompetence if you didn't appear to know that he's doing, and thus is doing this on purpose, which I think is savvy will peg dishonesty. This is the same shit that Christian apologists do in the other direction. Ah, there we go. I was waiting for someone else to say it like that, because I was like, oh no, he's doing the same thing Christians do, just the other direction, and
yeah,
said it exactly how I thought it. You know, you should be just as pissed off. Hillman then uses the same Christian apologetic style trickery again when he claims that Jesus' Gethsemane prayers about him drinking processed snake venom and hallucinating angels, absolutely none of which is happening in the text. There is no angel, no vision, not in Mark's account, nor Matthew's revision of it, nor even in Luke's second century revision, because Hillman glosses over the fact that the angelic visions now in Luke's text is most likely a contextual corruption of the late second century conclusion to grade the A the highest confidence in the most recent text critical edition, and as defended in Ehrman, orthodox corruption of scripture, pp 225-26. There's no evidence these verses were in the Marcion text either. This is important because Hillman spins another ridiculous argument here, and somehow the fact that Jesus supposedly sweating blood confirms his use of drugs. But that's part of the interpolation. It's false. Luke never wrote that, and it was inserted half a century or so after Luke composed his edition. Ah, son of a bitch. I want this shit to be true, y'all. But even if he did rewrite it, he clearly invented it a century after the fact, because both Mark and Matthew, his only known sources, never heard of it, even though some scribes tried to sneak this text into late manuscripts of Matthew, Allen and Allen, the text of the New Testament, page 310. But this is also non sequitur. Red sweat has no actual correlation with any hallucinogen. Yeah, I don't know. And the text does not even mean that anyway. We've looked at that, it being the purple on his face.
Yeah, yeah.
We've looked at that. We looked at that in the quest for the burning purples. The author metaphor is not for the color blood, but it's the sweat from the drops and it hits the ground. The blood, the way blood does, is always when anyone with any savvy in literature metaphor just reads the text as written. Hillman tries to avoid all this by instead implying the sick idea that pseudo Luke might really mean some purple goo was leaking out of Jesus' ass. You know, my friend does coffee enemas. Getting it in there, it seems like the physical substance that exudes from Jesus in the garden is also used to describe the exudate as the anus of Dionysus and the frogs of Aristophanes. This never happened in the frogs of Aristophanes, so perhaps less intelligibly leaking out of Jesus' pores, as if like Dionysus' ass. But that would be abject pseudoscience. So I assume Hillman doesn't mean that. There is no goo or purple or anus in Luke 22, 43, 44, nor in the Aristophanes. And notice Hillman does not tell us where in the frogs this weird thing is supposed to be happening. Not a single relevant word connects Luke 22, 44 and the frogs except the dripping blood. So this word not in Luke shows up in the frogs, 471, 472, but no connection with anyone's ass, nor to any ephemera. Hillman claims Jesus was. I'm gonna do like this. I'm gonna mute you just for a little bit because I'm ADD. Only after this, after Hell's janitor thus threatened him, does he sick monsters of Dionysus that literally scare the shit out of him. And a humorous discourse follows about the heart dropping into his bowels, but none of that is in connection with the previous mention of blood. So sorry, no hemorrhoids, no bleeding ass, no ephemera, not a single thing Hillman claiming in the text. Jesus never drinks anything at Gethsemane. There is no cup. Mention a cup is a metaphor, not an actual cup. This is obvious from how John 18 understands the metaphor. Jesus is not just talking about a literal cup, but drinking the cup, which is in, I put that in one of the little AI songs I have, is a metaphor for accepting his death of fate, might interfere with the metaphor popularized by, and thus is since evoking a cup of Socrates, whose execution for the blasphemy involved drinking hemlock, which is not a hallucinogen, but whose story the Gospels did emulate. OHJ. Chapter 5, 46. But this is still not literal. Jesus was not executed by voluntarily drinking a cup of hemlock. Normally, it say this shows Hillman is just catastrophically bad at literary analysis or biblical exegesis. A rank amateur, even unless he deliberately misstating these things to con you. You decide. I'll give you a hand though, because perhaps the most blatant evidence of Hillman's deceptive manipulative behavior is in how he uses the Roman pharmaceutical author Scribonius Largus at this very point. Hillman claims, page 383, that somewhere in his compositions, 188 or 193, Largus describes a series of symptoms suffered by the use of drugs, mala medicamenta, associated with the Ios rite mystery of the similar to those suffered by Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane after he drank of the cup and experienced the vision of an angel. This isn't true. I already saw Jesus drinking something isn't. We already saw that Jesus drinking something isn't in any version of this text. I didn't think that, he says, let this cup pass, I thought. And seeing an angel isn't any first century version of the text, but the section of the Largus that Hillman citing also nothing at all to do with the mysteries or Hillman made up snake venom Ios rites. But why couldn't it be, though? I mean, he's doing maybe not what he's describing, but he's doing some kind of ritual with the kid, with the Sindona. He's got the...
Yeah, they're very well could be. I mean, it doesn't have to. Oh shit, am I not?
I think the sheet is the same purple sheet that they put on the dude later in the thing.
Right? Like maybe it's not exactly the right mystery. Maybe it's not exactly the right Ammon is talking about, but maybe Ammon is touching on a truth that there was some kind of weird thing happening. Like, I mean, it's fucking plausible.
Well, even if it was just the initiation, right?
That nothing weird was happening.
Even if he was just rubbing an oil on the kid, and I say the kid in the Nianiscos, that 21-year-old, that's fine with me too. I don't care. It's just, if he was rubbing the holy oil on him with the towel, and he's just naked underneath the towel, runs off. I think the Romans picked that up and they put it on Jesus when they started saluting him and mocking him and stuff. I think it was purple. That's all. That's not one of my claims. That's all I got. The two sections of Largus that Hillman cites are probably chapter the antidotes against all bad drugs, not any specific one. Okay, so we're breaking down that. Got you guys. This is made up bullshit, but it seems clear to me that Hillman is counting on you not to be able to find and read the obscure Latin pharmaceutical text so he can make you believe anything that he wants about what he says. Absolutely. Which looks like it's a sales tactic. That's what we used to do in sales. That's why I had to be in really good shape in sales, because I worked at a gym and I sold gym memberships. So if I looked like the epitome of what they consider fitness, then everything that comes out of my mouth is deemed as fact. It could be the biggest in the world, or I could just be wrong.
Even just sounding like an authoritative figure makes people believe it. Like just saying something with confidence, like just sounding confident when you say. Sounding confident when you say something can make people just trust.
I had a ranger
can just trust you.
I had a ranger working for me in DC, and we were talking about PSYOP, and he was under the impression that women couldn't be PSYOP, and I was like,
what?
They can. They went through the course with me, when I went through the
I think too, like nitpicking the exact specifics of like Ammon's mystery is kind of missing the point, because like it could have been a mystery. Maybe the specific details Ammon are using is wrong, but that doesn't mean the idea of there being a mystery involved around Jesus is wrong. You get what I mean?
After all, the guy could have not even existed.
Well, I mean, that's what. It doesn't matter if he existed or not existed. It's the point of
what
the story is. The story is the point of the history, right? Like even if the story is fake, it's still a mockery of what was happening at the time. Or something, right?
Let's look at this. Hillman does this so much that his reliability is truly blown. How long have I been on? I don't want to take too long. 1 hour. Okay, let's wrap this up as soon as we're halfway through it, but
we could just save the other. Get to the next point. We could do the rest tomorrow, unless you really want to get it all done.
Yeah, no, we'll do some more. Yeah, I'll just do this last piece and I'll bounce out. All right, so This is good. Let's do this. Hillman does so much. These libraries truly blown. Many pages, chapters contain dubious claims about ancient Greek, like when he tries to tell his readers with a straight face that Jesus' name in Greek is Jason. Page 384. It's not. No, it's not. Words are nothing alike in either meaning or etymology. Jesus is actually Joshua and means Hebrew Yahweh saves, though Hillman has crank things to say about Hebrew being fake language, even in Greek. Jesus is the Edo-root second declension noun with a sibilant stem. Isus, Jason, the hero of the Argonauts, most likely means healer, and the Greek is the alpha root third declination sound with a nasal stem. Esun.
Yasun.
Yeah. Anyway, while the echoes bloody crags, Hillman thought to tell the readers otherwise escapes me, because I cannot ascertain any point in doing that. Make really illogical arguments about anything said. Any man named Jason can then be assumed true about Jesus. Cult drug compound used in mystery rite, otherwise known as burning purple, according to Hillman, says Karl Ruck's really somewhere in page great gods of some thrace. Karl Ruck never said that. There we go. Okay, so this is what the stuff from Ruck we were waiting to see a video on. Here we go.
But yeah, there's probably more than just this too, but yes.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Hillman's citation is bogus, and even apart from Hillman's fantasies about burning purple, check out the song "Burning Purple" by Witch Doctor. It's down in the videos on the other page. There is no evidence of Jason engaging in any drug rituals at all. Now, we did do a deep dive on burning purple and trying to find any kind of like incense, and we did find the theory, the method and stuff.
I have a copy of the Great God, the same with race too, so I'll look through it for what he's saying here.
We had some other stuff that was mentioned. My mom even brought up a potassium sulfate burning to make purple flames, but seems like it's more of a coin term that's come along the way. I'm not really sure. I was hoping to ask him. Remember, guys, this was the question I had for him in the beginning.
The crushed murex shells are caustic and they burn your skin, right? The powder of the crushed shells. That was
one of the things we were discovering from some of the different research articles we had in the episode, The Quest for the Burning Purple, part 1 and 2. That's down in the live streams. It's one of the ones that we kept up. Guys, if you're new to the channel, there used to be a bunch of other videos that I had up, but I wanted to redo them, so I took them down because they had some errors and stuff. So anyway, there is no evidence of Jason engaging drug rituals at all. Just one time he's given a magical oil of vulnerability for his armor and body, which is not hallucinogen nor exists. Well, all the myth and lore, Christing oils and purple references and stuff did come from somewhere, and things like that in the poetry did exist. It's just not the way that it's being referenced to. There are countless fallacies here and everywhere in Hillman's discourse. But the Jason is the Greek for Jesus thing alone is something usually only a rank amateur would say, yet Hillman knows it is false. You would think so, yeah. And says it anyway. This tells you pervasively unreliable he is. Yeah, when I was a sales guy, we would try out all kinds of different things on people coming in for gym memberships. I pretend to be freaking Hispanic, and I would do an entire gym tour and everything with a fake Hispanic accent the whole time. And then if anything went wrong, they'd come back to the gym and be like, yeah, some Hispanic guy signed me up. They're like, we don't have a Hispanic guy on staff. Like at this particular gym, they're like, huh? So I used to mess with people so bad.
Yeah.
This tells you how pervasive and unreliable he is. Okay, so let's go ahead and we're done with this. Yeah. What you been up to, bro?
Oh, I've been playing music all day, and just fucking creating sounds with the pedals I got there. Trying to come up with some stuff for the band that I'm working on starting.
Right. Have you been doing any of the comments? I'm gonna put them on the screen while we're.
Oh no, because I had to maximize the video to see the article.
How fucking boring would life in ancient times be without drugs? I think that's why they did them.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. I mean, life sucked, and we definitely had some entheogens in the early days of different things. And if this group over here was a bunch of rednecks, that's fine. they obviously got rid of it all in some way or another, and we see the mushrooms in the stained glass windows and stuff, guys. There's somebody was doing the stuff, maybe not, everyone, and yeah, I think it shouldn't be that big of a deal if that's the case. Would it be that big of a deal? I don't think so. And for the Christians out there, just as a joke or just being fun here, what's wrong with God sending his son to to do that kind of stuff? Well, like a South American like folklore story about that would make sense. That in my brain, it'd be a female god sends down a healer, and that the Sophia and stuff. That's why I ended up hearing that kind of stuff. It's kind of interesting,
Yeah.
Like, what?
I like it, like at the end of the day, I find Ammon's work very interesting and compelling, and I think there's totally truth to it all. It's just that whether the exact specifics are correct is something that's hard to pin down. Just by the nature of how the dots are connected, right?
An atheist. Oh, so he is an atheist. Okay, I didn't know.
Yeah. I think he is an atheist. Yeah.
Well, that is good. That is good. I like that, because obviously, if he's a Christian, there's that bias there, or whatever, or that people would at least claim.
Like one of the
Dan McClellan, he's a Mormon, so they write him all off. But anyway, hey, bro, I need to get back to
okay. Let's do the second half tomorrow.
I mean, later.